that's okay. You might be wondering why I'm dressed up as Dia de los Muertos. By the title, you can see I'm reflecting the movie. And yes, of course, it's Halloween, but honestly, I dressed up not to make fun of it or anything like that, but just try to spread a good message about this movie, yet to judge its pros and cons, and also whether I should recommend it for you to watch. So, welcome to Filmscination. I make movie recommendations. Come on this journey with me, so grab your popcorn and drinks, press the subscribe button, like this video, and let's start with the show. Let's summarize this movie, shall we? Starts off by a lady telling the stories of Dia de los Muertos to some misbehaved children on a field trip. So the story begins with three children who've been friends since childhood, and each path has been set for them by the elders. And Maria was sent to Europe, Joaquin joined the military, and Manolo studies to become a bullfighter. There we have the two boys who wants Maria's hearts. And we have Dad and her husband gamble a wager who will get Maria's heart. And it's a beautiful love story, so let's begin with the cons and end with pros because in my world, it's gonna end happy. Cons. I appreciate the way filmmakers created this movie, but I do have some judgment that could help or maybe not. I was hoping for more of a regional piece of songs, and many of the songs were portrayed of mostly Elvis Presley's song of Can't Help Falling in Love, Do You Think I'm Sexy, and Creep, and so on. I felt as the songs did not do the movie enough justice. I believe to mix things up, but if making on that Latin culture movie maybe could help to dig a little deeper of putting more traditional songs besides of the Yorari Yorar with George Sanchez, the characters who is Manolo's great grandfather. You get it. The second part of what I disliked was no, do not come for me, but Joaquin sounded very white. And for the reason it was Channing Tatum, he did an amazing job. Just curious as to why only like Manolo had the accent, of course, played by Diego Luna. And just again, I'm all in for making everyone equal to play any part they want. Just this is about telling the tale of Mexico's wonderful tradition of celebrating the Day of the Dead. I will say I'm Mexican and I'm very proud, but honestly, this threw me off. I mean, they had everyone else right in tone, and I don't want to sound mean. I'm just simply giving a con about this. I just wanted to be very close to home for me. And I understand there was a lot of mix in all the artists who played the characters. Somehow the others played it a little more closer to their characters. And I wish they would spend more time also on the idea of Dia de los Muertos. It took more of the love story and there was a very short time done in the other ground. And lastly, I would say a con about this movie is I have to move on to pros because nothing else is wrong with it. Pro. The Book of Life teaches us Dia de los Muertos or Day of the Dead is there to remind us to remember our loved ones who have passed away and will always be in our hearts. But this special day also just brings everyone together to celebrate life and death. Where to begin of what I loved of this movie? Oh, I know. As I say, horror movies have a checklist. Well, family movies that are animated, I'm pretty sure screenwriters have a checklist to write a story. So as accurate as I can get. 1. A story begins with love, with always being a girl and two boys, or in Coco's story, placing a son and a mother. By the way, do not get me started on the movie. Number 2, the stupid animal as a pet. No offense, but it's actually very cute. And 3, continue with silly, funny characters, which are mariachis, who bring the comedy. And 4, a reason why the story begins with a lesson, which is there being a wager with Death and her husband. And 5, the parents who do not let their children write their own stories. And 6, a lot of singing to bring the story along. And number 7, a great message for all ages. Even old people can learn a few things, and well, young can try to listen and take the advice. And all these things brought the movie alive. It certainly had a lot of comedy, especially with the mariachi. And of course, it had to have one of them as Fluffy. He's funny as hell to me because I can relate. And let's just put some light and happiness into Dia de los Muertos. It does not have to be a sad story to tell of loved ones passing away because it's about knowing they will always be in our hearts regardless which makes it very beautiful. And the way creators brought Dia de los Muertos in such a great design, I could tell they took their time with this and the way they created the characters. And the one that most intrigued me was that her costume and way created was amazing. She looked really cool, most of all, beautiful. Her big hat lit with candles all around her made it feel very much alive, letting us know that death does not have to be scary. And the fact they added a husband to her who guards the forgotten, by the way, it makes it even a better story. They dance around each other throughout the whole film, and they don't necessarily fight. And besides the animation done well and not so animated like maybe others, felt a lot closer, and it just made it very unique. And moving on to the singing, as I did say, it was a con, but since I knew most of them, I felt more willing to sing along, making it feel as I was part of the story. As cheesy as it sounds, I don't care. Talking of the story, we have the three children who are longtime friends, but we have the true love between Manolo and Maria. And Manolo being so humble and afraid of disappointing his family, which we all heard of before. Maria wanting to be different from all past traditional women in Mexico. She wants to be independent, and I applaud filmmakers having this change. It can help little girls or even women to stand on their own. And then we have Joaquin, who has metal that makes him unstoppable, but along makes him kind of a jerk. Just to finding out that he lost his ways with the metal, and the troopers in the end he becomes is a better one. And just to end my rant, moving on to the message. The Book of Life conveys many small messages, one big one in the end. So it is. Write your own story. Don't let anyone dictate your life. As much as this book within the movies to resemble the Bible, because if we talk of the religion, is the Book of Life. But I will not touch on the subject, wanting to respect everyone's idea of this movie. And again, just because one person says you cannot do or say something regardless of a family member or not, you are your own person. Remember, me, myself, and I. You are the one carrying those emotions, not anyone else. And ending the show with who I should recommend this movie is one who love animated movies and does not have annoying songs that could catch on to children and drive us all crazy. Two, wanting to teach your children about Dia de los Muertos and show them this movie, but you can also look up other ways to teach them. Third, it has a lot of cool action with a sweet love story of overcoming oneself. And if you checked all three, then go ahead and watch the movie. Grab some popcorn, maybe some soda, and grab your children. Or by yourself. Who cares? This movie is very enjoyable. My personal rating for The Book of Life will be a 8.5. Yes, it has everything I could imagine for this movie. It has the sweetest of the story to tell. You will see in the end of the movie that it shows a lot of symbolisms. And anyway, moviegoers, I'm not a professional critic or screenwriter. Let's agree to disagree in the comments below. Like this video, click this flashing sign, and I'll see you in the next show.